everyone, and welcome to the book launch for My Imperfections. I am your host for the evening, Ebony Nicole Smith, and I am also one of the co-authors of this amazing book. And tonight we are just going to have a phenomenal time. We are going to chat with each of the co-authors. We have some raffles as well, and we have a special viewing for you all. So come on in to this space and enjoy our imperfections, okay? It doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing right now. I need you to stop and pay attention, all right? And as you do, make sure you are attentive to what is going on. Make sure you join the conversation, okay? And more importantly, make sure you like this live broadcast and share it to your page so that your friends and family can join us as well. Before we get started, all right, we have to honor the woman behind all of us, pushing us, and some of us she had to beat a couple of times. I believe I felt a kick in my butt all the way from Buffalo to Rochester a few times, because it was out of love. It was surely out of love. Our visionary, our leader, the amazing Shannon Sproul. Honey, thank you. Give me a round of applause for Shannon.
Yay, Shannon.
We love you and honor you, woman. Thank you so much for opening up your gifts to allow us to write for you. It's an honor for all of us to do so. This is my second time, and under your leadership, I got it done. So thank you. Is there anything you want to share with the audience tonight?
Just real quick. A little bit about me. I'm Shannon Sproul. I am an author, working on book number 11 and 12. I am also the CEO and founder of SMS Write On Publishing. And this anthology was birthed from another anthology that we did. I actually did a workshop at a conference for Boss Moves International. And part of that workshop, I encouraged the women to write a story of inspiration. And that was Sprinkles of Inspiration, our first anthology. And then here's number 2.
Just came from there. I believe that once you start writing, it's like a floodgate just opens and it does not stop. It doesn't trickle in. No, it just comes all the way in, and you just got to kind of stay afloat with it because the ideas just come and come and come and come. So thank you so much again, Shannon. Like, all of us are just honored to be under your leadership and for you to cast your vision to us and allow us to be a part of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we are going to get right into it, all right? So I prepared some questions for the ladies, but let me tell y'all how it goes. Well, you can prepare questions, but more things come out as you have a conversation. So as we are talking, when these questions are answered, if you're viewing this, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. We will be happy to answer them. We will be happy to read your comments on the live so people know what you're thinking as well. So ladies, getting right into it. What inspired you to share your story in an anthology where you will be talking about your imperfections? And why was that important for you to do so? I want to start with you, Cookie. Why was it important that you did this? You look surprised.
Well, it was very important for me for a lot more reasons than I can begin to tell you. But most importantly is when I heard about everything going on, I was kind of excited because I've been dying to write something. But just to understand some of the things that I've gone through in my life is really what really inspired me, because months have come and months have gone by. And this was the time that I guess it was just the designated time for me to be able to share something. And through looking back at my life and saying, wow, was it bad? Was it good? But just knowing that today as an adult, I'm saying, wow, that was something that I went through. And what can I do with that? And to bring that into a full picture, it was more exciting. And each day, like some days I wouldn't even bother putting any kind of thoughts into it. But once I started, it was like I couldn't stop. Like it was like, oh my God, let me write this down, let me type this up. And just to know that what I had inside was starting to come out. But I needed to be able to bring that out to share with everybody else, because it was something that people may go through and not know what to do. I'm not saying that what I had to do for myself is the way everybody else had to do, but it was just a footprint in that sand, you know? So I just felt like this was just a great opportunity for me, and it started to open up some more doors for me. So
there you go.
It was exciting, and I can't write this stuff down. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
Right.
You know, it just comes, it's a nice flow, and it comes out. Sometimes you don't bring everything out. That's why I'm still thinking about that next book I'm about to write.
Yes.
So, this really inspired me. I'm hoping that when people buy this book and they read some of our stories, that they will understand that, wow, this is me, you know, and then look what she did, and wow, let me take some kind of ideas. I want people to take some of my ideas and think about what their next step is.
So how they can apply it to their own life. If they could just see that Ursula got through it, Ursula did it, or Cookie did it, CJ did it, Katira did it, then I can as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Ursula, same question. Why did you decide, or what inspired you to join this anthology? Knowing, again, you were going to release some of your imperfections. What inspired that, and why was it important that you shared it now?
This whole COVID thing took me by complete surprise as to how I reacted to it. I really had a great deal of fear. And even though I know that my God is not the author of fear and confusion, I still found it to have a really strong grasp, a hold of me. And in order to break that hold, I had to literally allow myself to become the most vulnerable individual that I could.
Wow.
So that I could then stoke that fire, and hopefully that fire, and it did, that fire became louder than the doubts that I was feeling and the fears that I was feeling.
So writing for you canceled out all of those doubts. It canceled out the fear. It just made it, for you, free.
Exactly.
It canceled out all the fear. That's beautiful, because a lot of people don't want to write, or they want to but can't, because there's a grip around their neck with fear.
Yes.
And I can say, I'm with you, girl. Trust me. Shannon, no, I called her hyperventilating, like, Shannon, I don't know. But she's such a great leader. She helped me get through it. Monica, was it Monique or Monica? I'm sorry. And you're on mute. You're on mute, honey.
I got the kids. It's Monica.
Monica. Oh, I'm sorry. And so what inspired you to share your story, and why was it important that you did so now?
It was important that I shared my story because at the moment I found out about the story, I was going through my own, what I call butterfly process. I was going through my own process of growth, working on myself, loving myself, loving my children are a piece of me. So loving on my children more, you know. It was a point in time in my past where I was younger, and I used to look at my kids and I'm just like, okay, I know I love my children because I birthed my children, you know, but I didn't have a good grasp on it, you know. And I've been a single mother for 18 years. My oldest is 18, you know, and I have been through so many trials and tribulations, and I want to say approximately maybe about 8 years ago, I tried to come out with my story about what a mother's love is, and I couldn't get it anywhere. I literally, that was it. That was all I could type was, what is a mother's love? I didn't understand it because I've been blessed to have two mothers, one that birthed me and one that raised me. And the thing about it is that having two mothers, but I didn't know what love was from my mothers. You know, when I had to grow, you know, with my children to understand, you know, what a mother's love is. And I felt like, you know, it was so many blockages when it was time for me to talk about it. And I said, you know what, it's time. And when that growth, when that period in my life where it was so much growth, I had to embrace myself and I had to really talk about it. It was hard to talk about it. It was hard to open up about it. I cried many nights talking just about not knowing, you know, if my mothers really love me, you know. So it was hard. It's really hard.
And so writing this story gave you the opportunity. Was this like a part of your healing journey, or is it just you went through it? And
it's definitely a part of my growth and my healing. Definitely.
All right. And Katira, I want you to answer the same question. Why did you decide to write your story, and why was it important that you did?
I decided to write it to help other people, but really it made it more real for me to see it on paper. So I always, you know, think to myself, you know, Katira, you have to take more time to yourself. All you do is work. You know, I have a full-time job, have a business, other ventures, etc. So that's different from me thinking about it. Is different than writing about it, seeing it on paper, knowing it's published, and that other people might be going through that, but it also holds me accountable. Like, okay, now you have this story here that you wrote and you talked about wanting to overcome this. So what are you going to do next? So it was really important for me to write it for myself, to help other people, but primarily to realize that I struggle with that. And putting it down on paper and in a book definitely brought that to the forefront for me, and it holds me accountable to, you know, taking responsibility to resolve that.
See, and that's the thing. When we are working on our books and we're writing our stories, we do have to remember that it's not just a story that benefits us. There are men, women, and children everywhere that is either behind us, next to us, or in front of us on the same journey, just a different path. And so as we learn, we could teach someone else. We could say, hey girl, hey guy, this is what I did. You don't have to do it exact same way, but I'm walking, breathing, living proof that you can do it as well. So I want to thank everyone who's joined us so far. Thank you. We are excited to have you at the launch of My Imperfections. And as you all can see, we are rocking our t-shirts. Yes. And I want you to, again, please join our conversation. If you have any questions for the ladies, please do ask them. Shannon is online as well. So if you have any questions, you can jump in and say, hey, I got a question from so-and-so. Also, like this live and share it to your page. We want everyone to know what it's like to be an imperfect person, serving a perfect God, living an imperfect life, but living it for a perfect God and whomever you serve, as long as you do what you do, whomever. So Shannon, part of this anthology book launch is a great thing. People get to win some raffles and some prizes. Woo, woo. So we are going to hand it over to Shannon so she can do a raffle. So the raffle comes in because you have pre-ordered a copy of the book and your name has been entered into a drawing. And Shannon, go right ahead.
All right. So we had quite a few people that pre-ordered the book. So everybody that did a pre-order, I threw your names in here and we're going to use our trusty wheel so everybody can see.
Yep.
And I'm going to spin the wheel and let's see who our first winner is.
I actually like that wheel.
Our first winner is Joyce Holmes.
All right.
Joyce Holmes.
And she is, we have we have 4 sponsors for tonight's book launch. And Joyce, you won a Miss Jackson barbecue sauce. So it's a gift basket that includes 2 jars of her barbecue sauce and 2 bottles of wine. And that's by one of our authors, Carmen. She does barbecue sauce. So you'll get 2 jars of barbecue sauce and 2 bottles of wine. I just need you to inbox me your contact information, or I think this was one of Cookie's entries. So we'll get it to you. Okay, Joyce?
All right, Joyce. At any time you decide you do not want the wine, just inbox me, girl, and I would give you my address to ship that right on over to Evie and Nicole. Okay? And the barbecue sauce, ciao. I didn't know you out here making barbecue sauce. I didn't tell nobody. You just keep it secrets, huh? Mm-hmm. So we are, since Carmen want to keep secrets, we're gonna keep you over in the corner for a little bit. No, you're gonna have the next question. Was it hard? Was it hard for you to write your chapter?
Is that for me?
Yes.
It was. It brought a reality to me of the things that I did not heal from. It took me a long time. I know we had a couple weeks, months to write it, but it did bring that reality to me. It was things that I kept saying I was, or I forgave, or, I've forgiven myself. And that was the hardest thing. That was the hardest thing to know, that I did not forgive me for my past. I forgave them, but I didn't forgive me. So it took a lot of healing. It took a lot of restoration. It took a lot of me staying before God in prayer, and just knowing who I am as a woman, knowing who I am as a mother, a friend, and being accountable in those areas, and not faulting the people that hurt me, but loving them, So once I started to do that healing process, it made it easier for me to put the words down on the paper.
Yeah. So it was like a realization for you that this is real now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well, as authors, when we are sharing the matters of our heart, like similar to what Katira said, we can process it all through our mind and everything, but it does not become real until we see it in print. And once it's in print, that means now the world is exposed to what we thought and what's in our heart. And once it's out there, sometimes we have to defend it. Sometimes we have to explain it. And so we are opening ourselves up to some criticism, maybe some constructive criticism, and some not. But that's one thing I believe is a beautiful thing about being in a place where you are free to seriously, truly, wholeheartedly write your book. And for us, I got my copy. Yeah. Right here, you guys can see it. It came in the mail this weekend. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. And there's parts in here. Look at this. I don't know if you can see that, but these are note pages. Okay. So not only are you just going to read the book, but you'll have a space in there where you can reflect. So thank everybody who are jumping on and joining the conversation. Again, please like this live and share it. So CJ, yes, girl, I called your whole name out. Okay.
Yes.
Was it hard for you to write your chapter?
Yes,
Why?
it was. It was very, very hard. It was difficult being in the moment of trying to reach out with my imperfection and actually write it down. It was just challenging. It was very challenging. And
why was it challenging for you?
there were many times where I was not in a writing mode,
Mhm.
not in a writing moment, and I didn't want to address it or want to face it, embrace it, basically. And I
Mhm.
know I needed to, because how else am I going to overcome it and get through it?
Mhm.
Yeah,
So sharing it helped you transition from one place to another. It
right.
helped you get from I'm stuck, I'm fearful to you know what, I'm empowered, I'm released.
Amen.
Yes, very much, very
Awesome,
much.
awesome, awesome, awesome. And that is one thing that writers, people who aspire to write their life story, it's a journey. And as you'll have those moments where you're like, I can't do this. But what
Right.
I loved about it is that because Shannon is our visionary and she gave us specific deadlines, that really does help. So I would say to anyone that's an aspiring author, they want to write a story, set obtainable deadlines, do or die deadlines, and that will help you make sure you push through those things that are mental, emotional, spiritual blocks. Because if you don't have a deadline, then you'll just go on forever with a book inside of you. So I'm happy for those deadlines. I was writing my book on the finishing my chapter the very last night because I was just like you, terrified,
Right,
just
right.
terrified. Miss Nicole, thank you so much for hopping on, ma'am. So I want to ask you, was it hard to write your chapter? Yes or no? Or, was it hard for you to write your chapter, and how so? If it wasn't or was?
I'm gonna say yes, it was hard to write the chapter because for me, I wrote about the imposter syndrome.
Mm.
And so anytime you feel like anytime you get ready to write about something or tell other people how to overcome something, trust and believe it's gonna attack you. And so it attacked me first because how dare you? Who do you think you are to even write a book? Let alone this is my fourth book, and I still have that same imposter syndrome. Like, who are you? Your book don't mean anything. What you have to say don't mean anything. And then sometimes we as women, we go through that. It's like, okay, you don't want to tell anybody what you're doing. And it was very hard. And so just going through the process of the imposter syndrome and then finding those scriptures to go with what I was writing about, that was hard in itself. But it gave me some relief that what does the word say? What does the word say about who you are? Even though I still experience it, and I'm experiencing it right now, I have something that I could go back to.
Yeah.
Something I can go back to and say, okay, here, this is what the word of God says. This is who you are. And you do have the authority to speak on it. But believe me, it attacked me first.
Yes. And that's, what I love about that is for aspiring authors, you're gonna get to a point, just like you have, you know what? You get stuck up here. Stuck in your head, and you're like, well, who's gonna buy it? Who's gonna read it? Anybody gonna leave a review? Are they gonna like it? But you can't worry about those things if you don't have a product. None of those things matter. Doesn't matter who's gonna buy it. Why? Because you don't have anything from the buy. Doesn't matter who's gonna read because you don't have anything from the read. So I commend you for pushing through to getting past those thoughts, because they do come. Shannon has written many books. I've written many. I know Katira has 4 herself as well. So we have those things, but you know what? We know we got to get this done. There is an audience. There is somebody out there who needs this so that they can be free, regardless of what it is. So yeah, people don't. I encourage anybody who want to write a story about their life. You're gonna have those doubts. You're gonna have those moments that's like, yo, I cannot do this. But you keep being persistent and do it. So visionary Shannon, how about you, darling? Was it hard for you to write your story?
Well, it really wasn't hard for me. I felt like it was necessary. I talk about something that I touched on in one of my first books, but didn't go into detail. And this story gave me an opportunity to really go into detail. And what really encouraged me to write this book was because these were demons that I was dealing with as a child.
Yeah.
You know, my chapter is called He Created Me in His Image.
Whoa.
And it wasn't until I developed a healthy relationship with God. And when I say healthy, you know, you can get saved. And people think, you know, when you're saved, that's it. I'm good to go. You know, I got this God thing down. But there's processes to being saved. There's growth process.
Right.
And I had to grow in my relationship with God to understand just how beautiful I was. I listened to society. I listened to, you know, as a child, little kids, you know, and you grow up with this stigma and you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see beauty. It wasn't until I developed a relationship with God to understand that nothing God creates is imperfect.
Ooh, say it again one more time for those that just entered the room.
Try to stop looking at yourself as imperfect and look at it from not a physical beauty, look at it from a heart, look at it from your heart, from love. And as you grow in Christ, you see the beauty.
Yes.
Understand what beauty really is. So it wasn't hard for me because I'm at that stage in my life where I have grown in my relationship with God. But I'll tell you, the motivating fact for this chapter is there's a lot of young girls out there who look in the mirror and cry, don't think they're beautiful for one reason or another, who are bullied, who are made fun of. And this is dedicated to them to let them know that they are beautiful.
Yes.
So that's what drove me to write my chapter.
It wasn't hard, but it was necessary. And you know, that's a beautiful thing, because when you have either it's going to be easy or it's going to be hard. And if it's hard, you still got to press. And if it's easy, you still got to press to put something out that's has purpose to it. Just because it's easy to write doesn't mean it doesn't have a purpose. You don't have to necessarily have a purpose for it. If it's easy to come out, that means you done been through enough to say, you know what, I got some strength in me and it's coming out.
I'll confess, I gave y'all a deadline, but I didn't meet that deadline. I didn't finish mine until much later because I struggled with it. I can tell the truth now. I can tell the truth now. Yeah.
Hold up. So the night that it was due, I'm up crying like, Lord, I just want to back out of this. Let me back out of this. The Lord was like, no.
Yeah.
I was mad. I felt like, was it Jacob that had to fight with the angel of the Lord that night? I felt like I was fighting. I was just scared he's gonna touch my hip and knock it out of socket. But I'm like, I was up 1 o'clock in the morning, and you were late. We're gonna talk about this offline. I would say, and I'll answer this question. It was hard for me to share my story. I cried. I for real was like, Lord, look, this is not it. My imperfection, I want to talk about was my gap. Had this all my life. That's what I'm like, that's what I'm gonna talk about my gap. The Lord like, you tried it. No, you're talking about this. And I'm like, Lord, you tried it. I'm not doing that. So, but that's my relationship with God. He understands it. But I clearly I did what he had wanted me to do. But it was hard because there are some things you want to take to your grave. And I imagine that we all have like, you know what? Nobody ever know about that. And I'm never, ever going to speak about it. I'm never, ever going to release that. But then there is something in you along your journey that says you need to let this go. And that's the only way you're going to receive your healing, your breakthrough, your deliverance is in what it is you share. One of the things I learned was that because I have written this story, the enemy no longer, I think I talked to Shannon about this, the enemy no longer has this thing over my head that he can taunt me with, because now I'm free to talk about it. So I'm telling you, will you all pick up this book? If you have not gotten it already, I need you to do so today. You know, 9 of us, okay? You're watching this live, either on our individual or personal pages or our business pages. Inbox us and say, hey, I need a signed copy. There's something in this book that you need, and do not be afraid to get what you need, okay? Shannon.
Can I interject here?
Oh, no, go right ahead, honey.
I can witness to, because she's not lying to you when she said she called me in tears. And I reminded her, I was like, after I let her boo a little bit, I said, all right, question number 1, did you pray on it? Yeah, I prayed on it. Okay. And what did God tell you? And she answered her own question. We go through things in life. I truly believe, we go through things, we suffer through things, and it's all because it's building up our testimony to help somebody else. And when I say help somebody else see the God that we serve.
Yes.
Your testimony is to draw people to Christ, and you are effective in a testimony when you've been through some stuff.
Yeah.
I can't give a test. There's a lot of people, I can give a testimony about losing a child because I lost a child. But not everybody can give a testimony about that because they haven't been through it.
Yep.
There's people that can give testimonies about being raped, about being molested, because they've been through it. And those are effective testimonies, especially when you show how God has worked in your life. Can't leave God out of the picture.
That's right.
No matter what you do, it's all about what God has done in your life to make that difference. So when you testify, when you're telling these stories, you got to show people there's hope.
Yep.
I've gotten through it. By the grace of God, I've gotten through it, and so can you. But Ebony was a wreck, but I was proud of her because when I read her story, I'm going to tell y'all this, I told her this. I said, Ebony, I thought you was about to tell me you murdered somebody because she was hysterical. And I'm like, this story is the story that so many people can tell that same story.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like, I should just go murder somebody. That might be easier. That's so wrong. No. But I thought it was that bad. Like, I can't do this. But I thank you, woman of God, for being my shoulder. And when I called her and I told her, she was like, Ebony, I'm at Niagara Falls with my sister. I'll call you later. I was like, okay. And I was nervous the whole time. Like, man, she's going to read this story and then she's going to be like, I'm not putting that in the book, Ebony. She was like, I thought you murdered somebody. I'm like,
and I want people to get this book and read these stories. Me, of course, as the visionary behind this, I got to read everybody's story first. And I sat there in awe at how these women shared intimate parts of their lives. And it just amazed me. And I actually had a different level of respect for these women because it's a lot to share personal things that you look at yourself and say, something's wrong with me because I'm this or I'm that. And to be able to share that with the world, because this book is going out to the world.
Yes, it is.
So I commend all of these ladies for sharing and pouring out into the world. Yeah.
Shannon, let me ask you this. What is your hope? And this is not one, I'm just listening. What is your hope for this book?
My hope with every book other than my fiction book, I just want y'all on the edge of y'all seat. But my hope for this book and the other anthology that we did is that if it helps or touch one person, we've done our job.
Yeah.
If it draws one person to call me and say, I want to know more about the God that you serve. Our job. So my hope is that this will be an inspiration, an empowerment to some woman out there, not just women, men go through stuff too.
Yes,
We're
they
all
do.
a group of women, and we tend to, say women, but there's some men out there struggling with some demons.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Hopefully they can read this book and find some type of inspiration.
Yeah.
That is my hope, that it provides some type of inspiration or encouragement to somebody.
All right. So y'all heard her. Y'all heard the visionary. She just casted her vision out to the world. Okay. And so in order for her vision to really manifest, we need you all to like and share this live. And then you need to go to the page, the inbox of your co-author that you see here. Is 9 of us. Go to the one that you know, go into her inbox and send her a message. Say, hey girl, I need a copy of your book. Or however you say, I like the hey girl. But hey girl, I need a copy of your book. And she will get it out to you. Our book should be arriving this week.
More like the week after, in about 2 weeks.
In about 2 weeks. So let me tell you, as a publisher, there are things we cannot control. All right. So Amazon is in control, but we know who has the ultimate control, but we just got to go with Amazon and work around all that. But get your copy. It's $14.99 plus tax and shipping, and your book will come out to you. But if you are a man or woman and you're in a place where you're like, you know what, I'm imperfect in this part of my life. I'm imperfect and I don't want nobody to know about it. Our stories, although they are uniquely ours, we are going to show you, share with you that your imperfections make you beautiful. They make you fearless. They make you love unconditionally. They make you powerful. They make you empowered. And they just give you a sense of strength, not a sense of it, but they make you stronger. It's not a weakness. Your imperfection does not define who you are. It just makes you a better person, because you know, like everybody else know, we are not perfect people.
Right.
So Shannon, we have another raffle. So let's see who is going to win. Now, Cookie, if another one of your people win, it's a setup. And, I'm going to have to do a recount.
Y'all not right.
I'm going to need those ballots to be counted again.
So the next person is going to win a nice little gift set from Skincare Essentials by Jill. Ooh. I use her products, and let me tell you, my face has been rejuvenated.
Come on now.
Her product is awesome. This person is going to win a whipped shea butter moisturizer, ooh, a souffle bath body butter, and a moisturizing body scrub. Let me put my name.
Like, for real, can I put my name? Just go ahead and put Ebony Nicole Smith in that, please.
So let's do a spin here.
It stopped.
Another one in Mac Cookies, Mary Hewitt.
Listen, now we need a recount. We need a recount. I believe that the ballot, there's something going on there. I don't know. Yeah, we need a recount. We need to do something. Call the Senate. Let them know.
It's so funny.
Something going on here. Mm-hmm. And they're sisters. Just in case nobody knew this. They're sisters. So that's 2. I'm just going to have to figure this out by the end of this show. So far, Shannon, do you have any questions on our page? Anyone has any questions?
Take a look and see. No, I got a bunch of likes and loves and.
Thank you all. Ooh, that warms our heart for the love. Thank you. So this is another question that I came up with, and I want you to really think about your imperfections, about what you shared in your chapter, and how how you would get another woman to share hers. So if you could tell other women who feel their imperfections are holding them back from becoming the best woman that she can be, what would you tell her about letting go, about her imperfections and how they affect her. So who do I want? Carmen, I want you to answer.
Well, I've actually been faced with this question. My biggest thing is dealing with fear. So I would definitely let whoever
I'm
I'm
getting
speaking
some
to.
feedback. I'm sorry to cut you off, honey. I'm getting some feedback a little
Can you
bit.
hear
So
me
if
now?
yeah.
And so I would definitely let her know that the biggest thing is submission. Submitting whatever your issue is, be it not thinking you're beautiful, be it your fear, be it not feeling like you're good enough. Submitting that thing to the Lord.
Yeah.
That's how I grew. That's how I became who I am now, and I know I'm still growing, but I will let her know, God said, cast all your cares on me. So
Everyone.
that's my biggest thing, casting your cares away, because if you're carrying it, it's like carrying a heavy load and you can't bear that by yourself.
Amen.
So I would just encourage her or him to give it up, because you can't go back and get your garbage.
That's right. Well, you say it for those in the back end, again for those taking notes. You can't do what?
You can't go back and get your garbage.
And that, you know what? I've said that before, and that's why I wanted you to say it again. I told one lady, I said, you don't call, my garbage come every Tuesday. I cannot call the city of Rochester and say, hey, on last Tuesday, you picked up my trash. I'm just checking on it. How is it doing? You can't do that. I'm just wondering, is it okay? Is it decomposing in a quick manner? What's happening with it?
Is it properly disappearing the way it should?
Right. So that's awesome.
You don't want that stuff.
And so, Ursula, what would you tell a woman who doesn't feel like her imperfections are going to allow her to be her best self?
I would say that it is not a point A to point B situation. You don't just go from one to the other and here I am, I'm better and everything's wonderful. It is a journey. And every step that you take in that journey, it might be insignificant to you. You've gone forward. You might get a slip back. But maybe that slip back allowed you to see something that you didn't see before. So every one of those steps, every part of that journey is a success. Yeah. So you need to recognize that every step is a success, be it forward or backward, because that's the only way to polish a gem. You can't polish a gem without that friction. You cannot bring out that beauty from that rough stone unless you have that friction and you have gone through the process of back and forth and back and forth. And I just thank God that He has polished some of my jewels. Yes. Some of them are still really, really rough. But I just thank God that He has just created an amazing crown for me.
Wow, thank you.
Yes, that's beautiful. Because sometimes we wear our crowns. People, it's been like the last couple of years, people talk about the crowns and everything. But we got to look at our own crown and realize God is still working on that. It's not a one-day thing. There are pieces of my crown still missing, but nobody would know that. Why? Because He has given me He's taken my ashes and given me beauty for it. So when you look here, you see what his marvelous work. And then the more He works, the more my jewels just pop out. The more your jewels, the more other women's jewels just pop out. So yes, let the Lord work. Come on now. And Monica, what would you say to a woman who feels her imperfections are not allowing her to become the best woman that she could be.
Even though it's a process, speak up and speak out. You gotta have faith over fear. Having that fear really puts a stop to. It could put a stop to a lot of great things that can happen to yourself, that can happen to other people around you when you speak up. You know, when I tried to tell a story of mine years ago, I had literally shaking, trying to tell a story. I've had people coming in just like, no, she lying. Well, why you ain't say nothing then? Why you ain't say nothing then? You know, well, why you ain't tell this person? Well, that was your best friend. You know, you can't let those things stop you. You gotta just keep going. You gotta just keep going. You know, you're gonna have your nights, you're gonna have your days where you're crying and you hide and you don't want to talk about it. You stand away from people because you don't want people questioning you. Family not talking to you, friends not talking to you, but you got to keep going. You just got to keep going because you never know, the next person that you can help. You never know, along with just healing yourself, you never know the type of, the people you can help out here. So faith over fear.
Faith over fear. And that's a strong point by itself, because sometimes fear can be so much greater than what our faith is. But if we put our faith in God, then it will be bigger than our fear. One thing my bishop taught us, and I love his leadership, is that sometimes we put our faith in man. Now that means man, woman, child. We put our faith in our job. We put our faith in our doctors. But if we shift that faith from over here to the natural things, to the spiritual things of God, we'll see how greater we are in our faith. It'll become so much. So when you said faith over fear, that faith just canceled out that fear, and it gives you that voice and allows your vulnerability to not hinder you, but to kind of like push you, like, okay, I'm going to be very vulnerable for you, Lord. So whatever you want to come out of this, just if I'm crying in the corner somewhere, I just need you to comfort me. Right. But just let me have my moment. But Katira, I want you, what would you tell a woman who feel like her imperfections are keeping her from becoming the greatest woman that she could be?
I would encourage her to be honest. I think we run into trouble when we try to lie to ourselves. When we try to lie to people, when we try to lie to God. And it's easy to be in denial. So I think the first step is to make sure that you're honest. And also be comfortable. You have to be comfortable with acknowledging whatever that flaw is, whatever that imperfection is. So I think that also ties into being authentic. So honesty is going to serve you the best. You're not going to be able to do better if you're not willing to admit that you are struggling with something, admit that you have a challenge, admit that you have an insecurity, whatever it may be. So that is what I would recommend first and foremost, is being honest. And then also forgiving yourself.
That's a big one.
And knowing that there are resources for you to overcome whatever you're facing. So that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, that's huge. When you become honest with yourself, you are giving yourself permission to really receive the help that you need to overcome, like you said, Katira, whatever it is, whatever your imperfection is. Because if you continue to hide, like if I'm hiding, you'll never know I need help behind here because I'm not being honest. But one time I'm like, y'all, this is it. This is what's going on. Now I have 8 other women that I can say, you know what, ladies, this is what's going on. And maybe 1 or 2 you can say, I got you, girl. But if you don't be honest with yourself, you'll never be honest with anybody else. And you'll continuously hide behind the falsities of life instead of really enjoying the fullness of it. And I think when you said to be honest and then to forgive yourself, that's one of the things. I'll be honest, that was hard. Has anybody else felt like it was difficult to forgive yourself from something? And how, like, we know God forgives us, and the person or persons may have done something to us or said something, and we asked them for forgiveness and they gave it, but then it's like, well, dang, do I even forgive me for what I did? And so we hold on to that unforgivefulness for ourselves. So that's great. I think we do, as we journey through this life, need to forgive ourselves along the way, even if we don't ever tell nobody what we did. Like, you know what, Ebony? You know what, Katira? I forgive you. Oh, thank you, Ebony. Oh, thank you. I accept your forgiveness. You know, just you just have to. Just have to. I think that's awesome. Very, very much awesome. So, Shannon, we got now listen here.
I know what she's gonna say.
If this person belongs to Cookie's troop, there's a problem, and we're gonna need a new will, and I'm gonna need my boy Esau to go ahead and grab a new will and spin it, because I think there's something I need him to recount.
This person is going to win Charger's Beautiful Baubles. She is paparazzi queen.
Ooh.
She's giving away a full jewelry set, necklace, bracelet, earrings, and ring. Okay.
Is my name in on that one?
No, honey. Sorry. All right, let's go. Let's see. Ooh.
Oh, you're not playing. You better be playing.
Ooh. Rosalia Leon. That's another one of Cookies.
This is a setup. This is a setup. Can I speak to your manager, please? Because something is wrong. I need a recount. I need a new spin. Something is wrong. So what did she win again? She won a gift set from paparazzi.
Yep, she won a necklace, bracelet, earrings, and ring.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Congratulations, Cookie. We got one more raffle.
Congrats, Cookie.
And we're gonna have to talk offline because she is Ursula made a comment. Cookie is the #1 author based on her pre-sales. You better work. Yes, #1 author. Whoop whoop.
All right, let's do the last one.
Okay.
Last one. This one is for Too Precious for This World. LaKendra Johnson is CEO of this nonprofit organization. It's for infant and child loss. She's doing a lot. She does an annual walk. Great organization. So she's donated a T-shirt and a water bottle for Too Precious for This World.
Okay.
So let's see who it's gonna be. Ouch. Wait, hold on.
See?
It's not Cookie this time. It's Rita Neal.
Who's Rita's person?
Me.
The irony of it all.
We need to respin because something is wrong.
Shannon and Cookie, y'all just did a WWE tag team. Y'all just took all the
pretty
much. I was just calling people saying, "You ordering a book? Give me $15." I'll hear no more.
Oh my goodness, no chance, right?
So,
that is funny.
For Cookie's people, you got to get me contact information, and I got readers, and we will get their gifts to them.
Awesome. Now, for those who have just joined us, You have entered into the virtual book launch for My Imperfections, the t-shirt we are all rocking. Woo, woo. And we are 9 women who decided, for our various reasons, to share with the world our imperfections. But you know what? Those imperfections make us free, beautiful, empowered. They make us powerful. They make us eligible for the greater things that life has to offer. We didn't allow our imperfections. At this moment, our imperfections are no longer a hindrance to us, but they are what we are using to catapult ourselves individually and collectively into a greater level. When you read this book right here, when you get your book, take your time to read each woman's story. Some of us, we like Ursula, Shannon, and myself, and a few other ladies had taken us some time. We had to push through some things. So these words were not written overnight. No, we had to really pull, push, cry, pray, struggle, reflect on ourselves to get this chapter in this book, our individual chapter, into this book. Don't take it for granted what we are sharing with you. Just know that if we can share it, you can too. So on one last question, then we're going to wrap it up. And I do believe that what we speak and we put out into the universe, the angels are grabbing them up and taking them to God, and like, oh, Monica said this, and CJ said that, and Ursula said this, and Katiba said that, and Cookie declared this. He's going to gather all those things up, and at his appointed time, according to his will, he's going to release it to us, right? So my question to you is, if there was one person you can sit down with and talk about your chapter, who would it be and why? So I want everybody to answer this. So I'm going to start with you, Shannon.
Figures. That's an inside joke. She know what I mean. If I had to choose one person, it would be that little girl that's sitting in her room by herself, crying because somebody just told her how ugly she was. Wow. That's who I would share my chapter with. That's who I would pour into.
Whew. And that little girl will leave that session, leave your presence, feeling like $1 million, feeling like the crown of the jewels that she's wearing are bright and powerful. Oh, come on now. What about you, Cookie? Who would you sit down with and why?
I would sit down to that person that is at the end of their rope, that doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to get to the place that they're trying to get to that person that has cried their last tear, to that person that doesn't know who to turn to. Because the title of my part is When Enough is Enough. That title alone speaks for a lot of stuff. To a man or a woman or a child, a teen, there's no discrimination, but it's saying to somebody today that you can go further, but there's some things you got to look at. There's some things you got to put on the altar and leave at the altar.
Yes.
There's some things that you got to go to God or whoever it is that you serve and say, Lord, here it is. And when you put it there, don't go back to it.
Yes.
It is that person that's struggling through some mental issue that nobody else knows. It's that person that's somewhat suicidal, don't know what to do. Do I take my life? Do I stay here? Is the person crying out for help? There is a person out there that needs to understand that what I wrote wasn't so much in depth, but it was enough to say it's time to reflect on the great things that's in front of you. Because we have to remember that we are on a journey and we have not yet met that destination.
Amen. Amen. You preaching.
Where's
the collection plate? Where's the collection plate? Because benediction, that was the end. So I don't think any of us need to come up after that. But we're gonna try, CJ, let you follow up with Pastor Cookie here.
Right, Pastor Cookie was taking it in.
For real. I was waiting for the organist to start playing. I was waiting for the organist.
Right. One person that I would like to share my portion of the book with would be my dad. And the reason why I chose him is because he passed in 2010. He was a very strong tower, very prominent person in my life. And by him creating me, I want to know what imperfections or struggles he may have dealt with. Or may not have, share with anyone. And how can he assist me with different strategies and help myself help myself along with helping others.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's who I would share my chapter with, is with my dad. I would share, because we used to talk all the time. And when he passed, that time in my life, that took me to a place that I have never been before. And yeah, he will be the one.
And he will be like, daughter, this is right. What, like, for real. Because you know what I love? I can go to the whole thing, but you said your dad. And a lot of people don't have their physical father anymore, but they got another father they can go to.
Right.
And I'm quite sure you went to your father like, Lord, look, I know you're perfect and all, but help me out with my imperfections.
Right.
Carmen.
And he was a man, of God too. I'm sorry. But he was a man of God as well. And he was just giving me some enlightenment on what to do and how to move from it.
As a father should. Come on, Dad. Now, Carmen, for you, who would you want to sit down with and why?
Thinking on the chapter that I've written, it kind of just makes my heart flutter. I went back and forth with this because as much as I love everyone, I wanted to talk to my cousin. And the reason being, she was behind a lot of the hurt that I went through. It was a hard battle to face, and we kind of just got past it. Like, nobody brung it up, nobody said anything, nobody kind of acknowledged where it was. And I'm not angry with her. I have forgiven her. I love her. I want her to know that you are forgiven.
Yes.
Regardless, if you don't know how to raise people, that's okay. But it's better for you to say it than to hurt someone. So I would just let her know, you are loved. I care about you. I didn't write this chapter to slander you or degrade you or but it was for healing. And it was a lot of healing. So a lot of people, sometimes it's good to go back to your past and let them know, like, hey, it happened, but it's okay because it made me the woman that I am.
That's right. That's right. And that's a beautiful thing about our past is that it happened. We can't change it. Only we can learn from it, grow from it, and move forward. Definitely move forward. Monica, what about you? Who would you sit with and why?
This is sort of kind of a difficult question. Being that the chapter is based on a mother's love, I was going to say I would sit down with my son that I lost 15 years ago. Unfortunately, after writing the chapter, I would sit down with both of my mothers. If I ever got the opportunity to get them both to sit at a table with me together, would be love. So that I could explain to them why I wrote the chapter, explain to them how I feel, how I felt, how my children feel, because my children are also affected because these are their grandchildren, you know. So I would really sit down with both of my mothers and show them just who I am today is who I would have wanted, the love I would have wanted as a little girl growing up, being ready. The way that I am with my children, that would be how I would have wanted my mothers to be with me. So I would sit down with my mothers.
Yeah.
You know what I love about that is that what you didn't receive, you are giving to your children. Sometimes it can be the total opposite. If you don't receive it, then you don't know how to give it to anybody else. But you learn what it's like to not have, but you found out what it feels like to have it, and now you're giving it to your children so that they don't ever have to go through the same thing. I think, child, another benediction. Y'all, this service is going over. Service is going over. Service, don't play any music. No music, please. No music. Ursula, who would you sit down with and why? And discuss your chapter.
So the first person I thought of was my former being, who I was before all of these things happened.
Yep.
But because of all of those things, as Carmen had said, it made me who I am now. So there's no regret for the journey.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to speak to the people who had possibly purposely or inadvertently hurt me, soul injured me. But just like Jesus had a purpose, and as much as we hate to see the crucifixion at Easter, his purpose was to die and come again so that we knew what was coming for us. As long as we in our hearts believed in that, we would have life everlasting as well.
Yes.
So I throw nothing for the journey. I think for me, it's me. I needed this for me, because had I not put that on paper, I still could have swept it under the carpet. I had a whole other thought of what I wanted to write about.
Yep.
And God just kept picking at me and picking at me. And he just said, woman, you better put this down.
Yeah.
So I thank God that he did. And it was me.
All right now. And that's, you know what? That's one thing about following God and listening, taking his lead is we can, yes, Lord, let's go over here and minister to this person, whatever. But then when it's like, the Lord's like, I need to minister to you, and this ministering to you, I need you to now follow through and do this. And it's like, Pause, Lord. We need to have a group session because this is not working. What is happening here? So yes, it has to be for you, honey. Absolutely. Katira, the editor extraordinaire, who would you sit down with and why?
So I would sit down with the person who avoids their personal feelings and emotions by using work as a distraction, and as a result becomes addicted to business and professional success.
You know what? That makes sense. Because you don't know how many people work 60 hours a week because they don't want to face the reality that they are actually in. And that becomes a cover for them where I don't, because if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. Oh, but it's still there. It's still there. So we can fill in those, we could take anything to cover something. That doesn't mean it's not there anymore. It's just, you just can't see it, but it does not go away. So I would say for me, it would be any, well, that is a hard question. I'm sitting here listening to y'all. I thought it's going to be easy, but then I'm like, yeah, it's not. First, I want to say Tyler Perry because I love him. And then I wanted to say Little Ebony. But then I will probably say any woman struggling. Ooh, Lord, we not doing this today. So I'm not doing this. I'm not answering that question. We gonna keep it rolling.
Excuse me.
Oh, I can't answer that question.
I know Ebony's the host, but I'm the big girl.
I can't. I'm hot now.
I demand.
No. Can I tell you how that was about to roll off of my tongue? I'm not answering that.
Oh, you got to answer the question, Ebony.
Listen.
You can answer it without giving away too much, but you got to answer it.
Do you see what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
I just got hot.
We got her hot now.
This bench, I got this bench in my office. This just went up like 75 degrees.
Okay, so this is an example of her meltdown we had. So, it's about to reappear. Okay, I thought we got through this, Ebony.
I thought so too. I'm about to start hyperventilating. Wait a minute.
You know what? Now they're gonna buy the book and go straight to your chapter first. You know that.
Oh God, I don't want to answer that. Okay. I would say I for real just got hot. I would say I would talk to any woman struggling with an addiction, a private addiction, one that if it gets revealed could possibly shatter how people view her.
Good job, Eb.
Yay! Yay!
I'm telling you, people just listening to us, you do not want to not get this book.
Oh, I know.
I'm gonna tell you, even though I participated in this project, there were a couple of stories that ministered to me. I think I reached out to Ursula because her chapter was just sticking needles in me, you know? It was like, oh, she just hitting on some stuff that I'm dealing with that's similar to what she went through. It was like, just reading these stories helped me. And I know it's going to help so many others.
Absolutely.
And as Ebony mentioned, in the back of the book, there's a short journal. And the purpose of that journal, I threw in some prayers for you to meditate on. But the purpose of the journal is I'd like every reader that buys this book and read it to take a look at themselves.
Yeah.
Look at what they think is an imperfection. You're in the privacy of you and the book.
Yep.
Start journaling and writing about it and look at what we've shared with you and try to use that to inspire you to see beauty instead of imperfection.
To see what? Say it one more time for those taking notes.
To see beauty, to see empowerment, to see courage, to see strength, to see freedom, to see all of those things, whichever one applies to you when you're journaling.
I don't know about y'all, but this time has been well spent.
Oh,
I
gotta let y'all know how much I love y'all.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm gonna tell you how much I love y'all in all the Facebook world. Y'all don't know. I'm a big wrestling fan, and wrestling's on right now. And I'm sitting here with y'all instead of looking at my wrestling. So you know I love y'all.
We're interrupting your wrestling. You know what? That's a sacrifice.
Yes, this is a big sacrifice.
That's a sacrifice, and we appreciate your sacrifice.
I'm Roman Reigns right now. Y'all just don't know.
We appreciate your sacrifice, visionary, because without your sacrifice of time, your financial sacrifices, your sacrifice from your WWE,
yes,
and your sacrifice from just everything, we would not be here today launching this beautiful book. So, I know who's the first time author because of this book. Raise your hand. Cookie, first time author.
And Carmen,
first time author. Congratulations, ladies. Welcome to the road of authorship. It's a beautiful one. Do not let this be your last book, but let it be the first of many.
And now a little plug right here.
Yep.
You have 2 publishers on this Zoom, myself and Ebony. We have a phenomenal editor.
Whoop, whoop. Go Tyra.
So you know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
You know how to get a hold of Ebony. If you need her, I'll tell you how to get a hold of her. But if you have a book inside of you that needs to come out, reach out to us.
That's it.
We'll be more than happy to help you tell your story.
That's it. All right. So without ending, like this is a ending, but not the ending. Okay, so we're going to end this live, but the conversation will continue. When you purchase your copy of My Imperfections, again, take your time, read each individual story, and reflect as our visionary has said. And if you find yourself in this book at any point, reach out to that author and let her know. If you read the stories and you find someone else that you know in the book and that she or he or they can receive something from the book, purchase them a copy, gift it to them, or tell them, look, bro, listen, sis, you need this book. You have 9 women who have poured out their most intimate selves into one book to help you. So please, please, please grab your copy of My Imperfections. And after you are done reading, this is very important. Go to Amazon.com, search the title of the book, My Imperfections, and leave us a review. We want to see them. That will help other people who might not even know us, but might be looking for something and want to know, is this what I'm actually looking for? So your review is very, very important to us, and we cannot wait to start seeing them. We cannot wait to get these books out to you. Again, you can still order for $14.99 plus tax and shipping, and they'll be out in 2 weeks. So from us to you, we thank you all very much for joining us this evening for the launch of our book. Hey! We are excited and cannot wait to do more with our visionary here, because I'm quite sure this visionary is not it, right? We got more.
More coming, but I got me coming next.
She's coming next, so
I got a good one coming.
We got more coming from the visionary. So you all, thank you.
Quickly, before we go,
yep.
Ebony, thank you so much for hosting this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Ebony really didn't have a choice. I sort of just told her, and she said, okay. So she didn't have much to, she didn't have a yes or no in this. So I thank you for hosting, and you will receive a gift basket from Skincare Essentials by Jill.
Yay!
She put it together. She's just opening her store back up, so give me give her a chance to get organized.
Okay.
I'll be sending you a gift basket.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. That's so dope.
Thank you.
I really didn't have a choice. It was more like, this is what you're doing. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Until next time, you all go be in the Lord peacefully, and may He do great and mighty things for you.
All right.